God bless the American alligator, reptile that I love. Swim beside him or her, not too close to him or her, through the swamp in the muck, from the swamp of the muck and stuff. American alligator, stay away from me. American alligator, go and let me be. I'm afraid of American alligators. I'm afraid of their world. I'm afraid of American alligators. I'm afraid of all kinds of things. I'm afraid of the American alligator. He's got really scary teeth. I'm afraid of American alligators. But I'll eat their beef. God is an American alligator.
9 billion names of pod.
From Atlanta,
where we care about the planet and give only the finest artisanal shits.
it's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm the bastard son of Captain Planet.
So let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah, all right.
There are people in the house.
Oh no, we have guests. I best clean up my language.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No need.
No.
No need whatsoever.
Joining us for this episode is Claire and Jeremiah from Kickass Animal Encounters. And this is a television show, a web show currently that is written, filmed, produced, everything in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Except when you
when we
go to Hawaii or other places around
Or
the
Florida or Arkansas.
Exactly.
Or places in between.
New York or
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves before we jump into how the two dynamos that you are came together for Kick-Ass Animal Encounters?
Cool. So I'm Claire. Hi,
And it
guys.
would be fair to say that you're the host, the MC, the...
Yep. I call myself producer/host.
Okay.
And Jeremiah's director/producer/director, whichever direction you want it to be. And I go way back as an actor, so that's how I came to it. But my sort of secret identity has always been animal lover, nature lover, mostly closeted conservationist, and I basically said I don't want to be closeted anymore. I'm out, and
I
I'm
want to
proud.
hug those trees in public. I want to crunch that granola proudly.
I want to point out non-recycled items, and no. So yeah, I've been a theater actor and a little bit of film and television, and I've ran several theaters. The physical buildings, as well as helping people on the artistic side of it. So a lot of theater experience and a little bit of film TV experience, but mostly I come to it with acting experience and passion for conservation and animals.
All right, very good. What about yourself, Jeremiah?
I actually come originally from a music background.
Oh, same here.
I was going to be a music major in college.
A particular instrument or
I
composing
played
or what?
trumpet.
Trumpet, okay.
For years and years and years.
You could have been an Oingo Boingo if the timing had been different.
Potentially.
If only.
I probably would have gone more of the symphony orchestra route.
Oh, okay.
Personally.
Well, and that's what Danny Elfman's doing now. So either way, Danny Elfman is okay.
But yeah, so I stopped being a music major first semester in college, and then just kind of meandered around college, taking different majors and minors and things, and then stopped going to college and partied for a while and went back to college and then moved to Atlanta. I was at UGA at the time. Moved to Atlanta, worked at Papa John's, went to Full Sail, came back, made commercials with my friend Dave, and got involved in Push Theater and the Dailies program, making short films and doing all sorts of film stuff. And then that's where I met Claire at Push Theater. And so for the last 10 or 12 years or so, I've been working independent film, doing video, audio for stage shows. By profession now, I'm a sound designer, audio engineer. So, yeah.
All right. And how did Kick-Ass Animal Encounters come about? What was the genesis for that?
What had happened was I was working at Georgia Aquarium. That was my day job, talking about the animals there for the guests. And after, I guess it was 7 or 8 years working there, they offered something called the Beluga Whale Encounter, where you can go in and you can buy a ticket to join them for a training session with the beluga whales. And I'd been talking about the beluga whales and teaching people about the beluga whales for 7 or 8 years and had never been in the same room as the beluga whales. And
Wow.
I got it as I think a Valentine's present for us. We're a couple, in case you didn't know that. I got it as a Valentine's present for us, and I had no idea that it would literally be life-changing. The elevator doors opened up on the beluga whale habitat. One of the people I'd known since I started working at the aquarium was going to be our trainer, Emmy Wood. Hi, Emmy, wherever you are. And you're in Alaska.
I thought you were going to say the elevator door was open and there was the beluga
There was
whale.
the beluga, but they were, they were just over there.
Oh, okay.
They were just in the pool. But I was like, I can hear them, I can breathe their air.
Hey, Claire, here you've been talking about me for years. Well, here I am.
Let me
Say
get
it
a
to
few
my
things
face.
straight here. I heard you called me a little bit big. I don't think that's fair. But no, I was so excited. There was not a moment that there wasn't a huge smile on my face. And afterwards, I told Jeremiah, it was like, I need to do something else. I still love theater. I still want to do theater, but I was like, screw theater. I want to do something with animals. I've got to do something with animals. And it took a couple years of it percolating, and the idea that finally we decided we're going to do a series, and it's going to be about, good animal encounters, people who really care about the animals and have the animals' interest at heart, and focus on teaching people what those good things are.
Actual information to impart rather than, aren't they cuddly?
Yeah.
Don't get them as pets for Christmas or whatever.
They are cuddly. We do want to hug them. Jeremiah's always saying, I just want to hug it.
I want to hug every single animal.
Yeah, and we get that.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing of like, we know that our love for animals comes from that want to like hug them and be with them and be near them. But let's also look at it from the other side and think about scientifically and biologically, like, what should we be doing?
Right.
Even just common sense. It's like, you don't just go up and grab an animal. Come on.
Yeah, but people do. Yeah. You've all seen the videos.
People hugging their cats with the cat with the claws, just and they're going, "Let me go!"
Putting a cucumber behind your cat because you think that's going to be funny. Yeah.
I gotta admit, those videos are hilarious, but I would guess
torturing
that
the animal.
it would give the cat, because the cat no longer has an idea of like, they know their area, and all of a sudden something happens, they're going to be more freaked out than they almost always are anyway.
Yep.
You're playing right into their,
Yep.
I will say though, I will always shove my face in my cat's face, regardless of what it wants. So that's
but
okay.
you won't put a cucumber behind it.
No. That's too much. I will pick up the cat and get really close to its face.
As it paws you to get away.
And yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is my right.
Same with
it's your cat.
I feed you.
That's not torture.
No, that's not torture.
That's fine. They're fine.
And over the last couple of years, with like certain documentaries, I know aquariums and such have gotten a really bad rap, and I too currently work at Georgia Aquarium, and I'm amazed at how well they do there, and how, I mean, animal safety is paramount above anything else, including, especially for the people who work there,
It's like, if it's the animal or the trainer, sorry trainer, you're going down, because the animals get sick.
we cannot do anything without going through animal training. I mean, I work at the sea lion encounter, or the sea lion it's not exhibit. What is it?
Show performance.
It's not a show. They don't like that.
Extravaganza.
Presentation.
Experience.
That's the word.
Sea lion experience. I'm going to call it the experience.
Yeah.
Sea lions! Exclamation point.
There you
Experience.
They don't dance yet, but
Yet.
We're always dancing.
But we can't do anything. I mean, I have to, I do audio there, and I have to check speakers and walk through the house and everything. But we can't do anything. We can't go down there. We can't. It's very, very
Right. It's not a petting zoo.
Exactly. And I mean, we get some protests and protesters, but not many. Luckily, we're not.
Well,
SeaWorld.
there's the overall concept of, why should we have animals out of their natural habitat ever anyway? And I kind of see their point, but at the same time, it's like, it's educational if you take really good care of them.
Well, here's the thing. At least on the sea lion front, all the sea lions that we have are rescued sea lions.
Yep.
Oh,
They strand on the beaches of California because the fish supplies are moving farther and farther offshore.
because global climate change is a total myth.
It's a total
and
myth.
we're not fucking up the ocean at all.
At all. No,
yeah,
no,
our
no,
actions
no.
have nothing to do with any of that.
No.
We're
And
totally innocent.
they are they are rehabilitated and they're released. But if they strand more than 3 times, the government says, "No, you can't take care of yourself," and they're sent to George Aquarium. And we have a sea
Get
lion.
a job, sea lions.
Right.
Oh,
Earn your keep.
here you go.
We have 2 sea lions who were rescued 11 years ago, who were malnourished, underweight, and now one of them's 500 pounds, one of them's almost 650 pounds. So
Same thing with the sea otters there too. They're all rescues from they can't survive in the ocean.
And that's a far cry from what SeaWorld has been criticized for. Now, I
think the criticism of SeaWorld is overly critical. I think they have some problems, but I think that in general, anyone who's ever worked with a trainer or people who work with animals knows that those people care so much about those animals. Now, sometimes it's true. Companies get too big and companies get greedy. It absolutely happens.
Anheuser-Busch, which owns SeaWorld.
What? They're greedy? What? Who?
Well,
Never.
They're too big. What?
Well, that's
They just got a little brewery down in the basement, down on 5th Street. They're not too
one
big.
of the things we try to focus on is like if the main point of the organization is either conservation or education, then that's a good start. If it's just entertainment or just, you can touch an animal, then.
Well, and a lot of the reason that I get about things is if it's the main point of the organization is to basically get tourists in so they get a picture with an animal.
Yeah.
That's usually the worst. One of the folks that we've worked with and filmed with calls it ecotourism instead of ecotourism.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
That's
what
exactly
it
what
is.
it is.
It's
Just
like
all
you want to
about
go
that
out into
selfie.
the jungle so you can get a selfie with a monkey instead of experiencing
Well,
them in their actual
Better a
habitat.
selfie than these other... This father who takes his 13-year-old daughter out to kill giraffes and pose with the dead bodies. I've said it before and I'll say it again. White people are the fucking worst.
Oh, I think you could say people are the worst when it comes to animals, but but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a special level of hell just slightly above the other, white people. You're just, God, you're awful.
Well, and white people with a lot of money.
yes, especially.
Like, I can just pay and kill a lion.
well-
I can just pay and have a lion as a pet.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That's one of the things I like
Thanks for
about...
tranking that tiger for me.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I like about the backlash from Blackfish, in that it put a spotlight on how the killer whales were being kept, trained, what happened with the offspring, and it brought to light some practices that, by and large, probably shouldn't be happening. And I agree, people probably went a little too nuts about it, but when you think about how they have to, they swim something like 30 miles a day, and they have to circulate the pool 7,000 times to get that same, it's not the same. And of course, taking a calf away from its mother, that's horrible.
Well, it depends. It depends. It
Okay,
really
well,
does.
tell me. You are the expert.
No, I'm not the expert. I'm not the expert.
Compared to me, you are so
but
the expert.
one of the biggest challenges, I think, with films like Blackfish, and I get this way with Michael Moore films too. Love you, Michael Moore, but don't love you. Is that we are very interested. I personally, and then us as a company and our philosophy and our series that we're doing, we're very interested in having the conversation. We are not interested in someone coming in and saying, I feel this way and I feel that way and I'm going to make that person look really bad even though I don't actually have all the evidence, or the evidence I have is from 1963. I'm gonna accuse. And I'm like, you are so I'm not a fan of Blackfish.
I've heard it's very inaccurate.
And it's very inaccurate, but it's also very hard to get accurate information, because who are the biologists? The biologists are conservationists or activists, and the biologists are people who work at aquariums. There are, of course, and zoos. And there are, of course, people in between those areas, but those are the loudest and the biggest groups, is those who do work with animals in captivity, and those who work to keep animals out of captivity. So finding the actual science, like what's really true, is so hard. It's so hard. But a lot of the stuff in Blackfish, just not accurate.
Really?
Well, if
Just
anybody
not accurate.
tells you they looked into an animal's eyes and can get anything from it, is full of crap.
I mean, no, I can get
animals.
Yeah.
I
They do
can
that
get
all the
lots
time.
from looking into an animal's eyes, and that's
Yeah.
all about me.
It's all about what
Yes,
I
it's
feel.
all
Exactly.
about me. That's all about me.
Your
It's not
cat
about
has a
people.
total
no.
personality, and you know everything it's thinking.
can't look into a
and that's
dolphin's
your
eyes.
and that's in your head.
Yeah.
understand
And it's
anything.
tough. Like, we went to film at Turpentine Creek, one of my favorite places. It's a big cat rescue and refuge and sanctuary. And
Where's it located?
it's in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Great place to go
little
anyway.
town, yeah.
And while you're there, please don't go to Animal Park and Safari or whatever it's called. Please go to Turpentine Creek because those guys do good work. And,
And there's an awesome brunch place that I can't remember what it's called.
it's in the basement level. It's really
Animals and brunch. I'm there,
Not at
even
the
though
same time,
even
but-
though it is Arkansas.
but only a few miles. But it's beautiful, beautiful. But they have people that come there, and they're like Yelp reviews or Travelocity reviews are people that are like, "Oh, those cages were so small, and these people are torturing the animals." And it's like, no, you don't know what an animal actually needs. Like, our view of what we think an animal needs and what an animal really needs is different. Now, there are absolutely a ton of places that have tiny little cramped cages that are way too small for the animals, but there are places that are going above and beyond to really give these animals like the best quality of life they possibly can, because you can't release a tiger back into its habitat. First of all, it doesn't have its habitat, and second of all, these are tigers that were like bought by celebrities to be pets, and they've been raised in garages, and bears that have been fed dog food. I mean, it's
Turpentine Creek also.
heartbreaking and also wonderful at the same time, because they
They used to have
Save
the
these
smaller
animals.
cages up front, which is where they like just the intakes. That was where they would put them before they could build them a bigger enclosure.
Yeah.
And now they've torn all that down, and
Yeah.
all they have is like full on natural grass enclosures and everything. So, but that's the thing. The people would
Yeah, I just use that as an example of
that's
how
also-
people, we don't know looking at it. We're not the experts. And there is an important thing to trusting your gut. That is important. But it's also important to go, you know what? I thought that this was really a bad situation. God forbid, let me do some research
or
and
ask,
learn something.
What?
Ask the
I
people-
feel it in my gut, so therefore it must be true.
or ask the people there at the place that you're visiting.
Well,
that's also
but that's hard too,
another
because you
thing-
ask the people at the bad places, and they're like, "Oh no,
but
this
I'm
is
just
great."
talking about Turpentine Creek. Like that was one of the things of like why we're doing this is like even you go and visit there, and a place like that, they obviously didn't get through to a couple of people somehow.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you?
Yeah, we were filming there, and
Yeah.
we saw this mom and her daughter, I think, come to the front desk while we were waiting to meet someone, and she was like, "Yeah, this was just depressing. Like, there's animals in cages, and I didn't think it would be like that." I'm like, "It's a rescue."
What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah,
they were all
and
just sitting there in a
animals were in-
lounge smoking and having a
And
drink.
it broke my heart, because of course the person at the front desk is like, "Well, absolutely, we'll give you your money back. You know, these are rescue animals, but you know, we'll do what you need." And I feel like that so many times like that, it's just a missed opportunity. And I almost was like, "Let me go talk to him," but I was like, I'm not a representative of them, so I can't. But you know, I wanted to say like, "Oh, you didn't get to go on a tour or talk to someone about where these animals were before, what they've been brought from, and what they're trying to do in the future." Like, it's so hard to get your entire message out there, but it's so important to get
Well,
your entire
the
message out there.
videos that pop up every once in a while, usually in Eastern Europe, about the elephant that has been unshackled for the first time in 20 years, and you're just like, you're dying inside, and you're just crying your eyes out because they're just like, oh, you know, and that kind of thing, that affects you. You know?
One of the most adorable / heartbreaking things we've seen was at Turpentine Creek when some of these tigers have lived their entire life on concrete.
Yeah.
And so like
Oh, the grass.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
I
watching
saw that.
them
That may have been
step
from.
out on
Did you put that on
grass.
one of your episodes?
We had it on one of
Might have,
ours.
yeah.
I think I saw it on your episode.
We had it on the short, I think.
yeah. Just
But-
watching this tiger like not understand what grass was, just like lifting
And it
its
was-
paws and making these little like
And it was, for
noises.
weeks they wouldn't go out on the. They only went
Yeah.
out to like pee, and then would run back into their little concrete
Yeah.
enclosure night house. You know, and it's that thing where these people have worked so hard to make sure that the tigers have these big open areas with grass on them, and then they're all excited and they release and they open the door the first time, and they're like, "She won't go on the grass."
Well,
'Cause she's
humans
terrified.
get put into prison for 30 years,
Yeah.
and they become institutionalized. They come out and, you know, they can walk
Yeah.
on grass, but they have problems with a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it any different with animals? You know. Now, have you been to one of my favorite places to interact with animals? It's on the West Coast.
What? No, what?
A little bit further south, the San Diego Wild Animal Park.
We have not.
No.
We have not. San Diego is a big
Yeah.
one on the list. Being low/no budget, we
out
have
of
gone
budget
to
now.
Hawaii and done some filming. But that's also because we have
Relatives,
relatives
there, so
to
it's-
stay with when we're there.
makes it cheaper.
His mother lives there, so we do try to get out there every couple of years. And that's our extent of our exoticness. We did a big trip out to California not to shoot several years ago, and we kind of want to retrace that and go from San Diego to Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay, and if you don't know, Monterey Bay Aquarium is like the granddaddy of conservation aquariums. They do everything right. I'm sure they think they don't, which is
Great.
that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
if
Great.
you
Keep working
continue
to get
trying
better.
make it better. Yeah. But yeah, Northern California in general, San Francisco area, and Monterey Bay, a little further south, a lot more conservation minded, and they do a great job out at Monterey Bay.
At the Wild Animal Park, they have a number of, for lack of a better term, shows, but a lot of it is a tram ride you take that goes for miles around the perimeter. That's to the side of, where all the buildings and shows and gift shops and crap is. And literally, like, animals that their natural habitat is like the plains of Africa. They've got the plains of frickin' Africa for miles in there. And, obviously when you get to the perimeter, it's, contained.
Right.
And I went, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hippopotami are hanging out doing their thing. And it's, maybe you see them, maybe you don't. They tell you, like, hey, we're not, prodding these animals to look up and, do whatever. Like, you see what you see.
Yeah.
So every time you go there, you may get to see the lions if they're out of their little area, and maybe you don't get to see them. Yeah. So come back as often as possible.
And to me, those are some of the best ones. And zoos and aquariums somewhat, but aquariums don't have to worry about that as much. But zoos have certainly moved toward that more. Sometimes you're not going to see the animals.
Right.
Like, we try to make it so that you have a good chance to. But if the jaguar is sleeping underneath its favorite shade tree in the back, that's a good thing.
Right.
We want it to be relaxed. And then when you come early in the morning and you see it walking around after it's had its food or as it's waiting for its breakfast, then that's... I do the same thing with theater. I'm like, I don't need you to see everything when you come to see the show. I want you to see most of it and have a great time. But to me, the best theater and the best zoos and the best trips are when you go and you don't get to see everything. And then you come back the next time and you see something totally different.
Right. It's like
yeah.
and of course, people that work with these animals, they kind of know their general pattern. And there's actually at the San Diego Zoo, they have little notes by the, say you're more likely to see in the afternoon rather than the morning, or morning versus afternoon, or whatever. And I stood and watched an eagle just kind of knead I don't know just some little furry animal that it caught up, and I was like, when's it gonna eat it? And for like 45 minutes, just kind of hung on to it and just kind of kept kneading it with its talon.
Tenderizing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going, all right, well, my bloodlust will not be satisfied today. I will.
Yeah, but
accept
wasn't
that.
it cool to see it do
Of
that?
course,
though?
of course,
Yeah,
absolutely. And what's strange is that the zoo is the Wild Animal Park is way out in the middle of nowhere, but the zoo is right next to major freeways. But once you're in the zoo, you're like in another dimension.
Yeah.
And it's you definitely would. It's one of the better zoos from
Oh,
what
absolutely,
I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I've done a
No,
tour
they're-
of zoos, but it's highly regarded
Yeah,
from what I
they're-
understand.
They do
They're
good
way
work.
up there. Yeah. But that's, the last 2 decades, really, maybe 2.5 decades, completely different outlook that zoos have now than what they used to.
Good.
I mean, it really was just...
I mean, for the better, I'm hoping.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
in a good way.
All right. That's good. What is your opinion? This made a lot of news recently. The kid who fell into the gorilla enclosure.
yeah.
A lot of people had, screw that kid. He should have died and let the gorilla live, or vice versa. And
Harambe the gorilla, or is that a different one?
That's a
Haram-
different one. That's a
Is
different
that a gorilla?
yeah, well,
remember
I
the
can't
name.
remember that. Harambe. I honestly can't remember. But essentially, what happened was somehow the kid made it through the barrier and into the gorilla pit
Enclosure.
enclosure.
Is that the
No,
one
yeah,
that
no.
they had to shoot.
And this was like,
they had to shoot.
yeah,
Well,
shoot. That was
They made the decision to shoot
Yeah.
it. Some people argue, a lot of people that are pro animal welfare, were saying, they shouldn't have shot him. They should have tranked him. You can't guarantee that tranking an animal like that is gonna.
And I remember seeing the news is like, we could have tranked him,
and then he would have gotten
and
pissed.
it would have taken effect in about 5 minutes.
And in 5 minutes
15 or
after,
so.
Was it 15?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's longer than that. But
Yeah.
it's not like the movies.
It's like, hey, what did it do? I'm going to take it out on this kid.
I mean, if they tranked me, I'd be down like that. But we're not
But
talking
you're not
about a
a,
human.
you're not
Not
an
a bull
800-pound
mountain gorilla, yeah.
lowland,
Yeah.
gorilla or
I'm
whatever.
not. Oh, jeez.
No.
No.
But that's the question of whether or not they made the right decision. The zoo made the right decision. I have no doubt that they had made the right decision, and I have no doubt that they did not make that decision lightly.
No.
But they had to make that decision. Who is gonna say that kid's life wasn't as important as that gorilla? I mean, you can say that. Some people might believe that, but that's not going to be good PR. Either way.
Come to the zoo and, your kid will probably live.
I do think I think that the most important thing for me is that none of us are the experts and none of us were there.
Yeah.
So everyone who's like, that was bad parenting or that was bad zooing.
That's the worst.
I'm sorry, Claire, you cannot go on cable TV and pontificate. You're not hired.
Too reasonable.
I know, I'm way too reasonable.
You have to stick with an opinion and just defend it to the death.
My opinion is that if you're not an expert, you should shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Now, and to the benefit of the zoo, they did say that they reinforced. They saw oh, that's how he got in there. Now we're going to make it so he can't do that. And maybe, hopefully, other zoos will take notice in case some kid does
Well, it
something.
does sound like
to
it
me, it's like trying to
even wasn't-
prevent 9/11.
It also wasn't really that
Like,
easy for
you're
him to get in there.
not gonna think that some kid is going to climb over the rocks, through the bushes, and past the
Yeah.
You're not gonna think a kid's gonna do that until a kid does that.
Yep.
You're not gonna think someone's gonna fly planes into a building. I'm not saying they're the same thing. Making that really clear. But it's the same kind of idea.
There's known knowns, and then there's unknown. Yeah.
Right, that you can't predict everything. And I don't think, probably as a non-expert who wasn't there, I don't think that you could look at the zoo and go, well, that clearly was bad fencing.
Yeah.
Or
Are you
look at
an
the mom
expert
and go,
on
that
zoo
was bad
enclosures?
parenting. Because, who knows what else could have been happening at that moment.
Yeah.
Both you and I, and everyone, we have friends with kids, and at a certain age, you literally could look over to see what that noise was, and in 1 second turn back, and the kid is halfway down the street about to get run over by something. You're like, what the?
Kids are magic.
I don't support putting your kids on those leashes, but I totally understand why you'd want to. I would say don't do that.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
If the mom, when the kid was like, I'm going to go into the gorilla enclosure, was like, all right, whatever, go ahead, then that's bad parenting.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
But
also, they were saying that he'd been saying he was going to go in there. Why didn't she believe him? It's like, do you know how many things kids say?
I'm going to be an astronaut,
shit all
and I'm
the
going to
time.
fly to the moon, and I'm going to... Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to ride that elephant over there. No, you're not.
Okay, Junior, sure you are.
Anyway, but I have my opinions on it, obviously, but mostly,
well, just like when awful things happen, can we just go, an awful thing happened?
Yeah.
And that fucking sucks.
yeah,
And
do what we
maybe
can
no one's to
prevent it.
blame.
Yeah,
Yeah. People try
no.
to crucify that
Yeah.
family.
But that means
Finger
cable
pointing, yeah.
news has
Maybe-
nothing to talk about.
This whole thing is just
Cable
terrible, and it
news.
sucks for everybody.
Don't you know Sean Hannity has 20/20, vision? He could look back and go, "There's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Why didn't you see that?"
we
one?"
can all look back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that family lost their kid.
Yeah.
Or almost lost their kid. And people were like, oh, you're terrible parents. It's like, yeah, a thing happened. And yes, it was terrible on every front, but these people almost lost their child.
And the same way around at the zoo, that people are like, "Well, they did terrible, they did awful. Let's yell at the zoo." And I'm like, "Do you know how heartbroken they are that
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
had to do that?
Yeah.
Like, these are people that have dedicated their lives to caring for these animals.
Yeah.
This is the absolute worst case scenario.
Yes.
That
Yeah, I
they
can't
would have
imagine any
no
worse than
choice in
this.
that split second. Then we have to put that animal down.
Yeah.
Well, on to lighter, fluffier topics. So, Kickass Animal Adventures. How many episodes in are you? What's going on with that? I know you've been working on this, building up a library, getting your
think we
reputation
have
established.
26 shorts
Yeah, we have a bunch of shorts.
Thereabouts.
I'm going to call it a bunch.
and 1 episode.
We have 1 episode, but we have 4 shot. What happens when you are a 2-person production team with supportive friends, but pardon me. But what happens when you're a 2-person production team is that at the end of the day, all the technical stuff goes to, I'm pointing at Jeremiah, goes to one person to do. I try to do what
we
I
wouldn't
can.
know anything about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not familiar to people who podcast at all.
Yeah.
But it is the thing that the director and producer then turns into the editor and
colorist, sound designer.
footage logger and
Make sure,
colorist and sound designer.
Well, I
and-
will say that at least on one of the recent ones, the series you did about the proper way to identify a shit, give a shit,
Yes.
and that it was just her talking for a number of minutes.
He loves those.
But it was
so
well because they're
easy
so
to edit.
easy to edit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just static shot, talk, you know,
Yeah.
push in, look back, you know. So
As if I could ever be boring.
not possible, not possible.
No, but I mean, obviously, even in our shorts, we try to have as many animals and as much stuff that people are going to be like, I want to watch that video so I can see a manatee. Like, sometimes we just got to give you some information. You know?
And it seemed like it was going more. That one was just like, here's conservation and here's how to be a better person and better. And are you gonna go that way more? Is it gonna?
We want to keep it pretty balanced. You're not gonna. We are not gonna be successful if we just talk to people about how we think they should behave with animals. But also it's about animals, so show animals, absolutely. So we do try to keep it mostly animal focused.
I think that's going to be the last one like that for a while.
With some. Like we have around the house green tips that we do. We call it Kickass Greenhouse. We have the Kickass Philosophy, which is the shit giving series. That's trying to express why we're doing what we're doing. But then the stuff that's going to get people to watch is going to be when we're out with the animals. So we do try to lean more animal, but sometimes you just got to tell people what's going on.
And to the people who go, well, what does all this this how separate my recycling have to do with animals? And you gotta go, what planet do animals live on? Okay.
What is the biggest threat to any animal anywhere?
Yeah.
Habitat destruction.
Look in the mirror.
Including
are.
human beings.
Yeah.
What is our biggest threat? But
So what is the I don't want to say end goal, but intermediate goal to take this to a platform like Nat Geo or whatever, or do something in house with
Or just keep it your thing.
with the Georgia
to
Aquarium?
keep it, I think the main thing is to get money to pay people to help us make it is the next step, which involves getting.
But I think the medium-term goal that
is
maybe you're asking to is it will remain an independent
Yes.
series. Two main things about that. Number one, it's our series, it's our idea. I don't want to sell it to Discovery or Nat Geo and then have them go, that's great. Now we're going to hire this 20-year-old host who's been doing rock show promos, and we're going to hire this director.
Hey,
who's-
we're with a totally awesome panda. We're going
Right.
to do some panda stuff.
Yeah. That's kind of tied to the second thing, which is the integrity of what we're actually trying to do is really important to us. I don't want to. I mean, sure, I would want to sell it and make money, but I don't want to sell it and make money until there is enough of a following to say, okay, well, us and our viewers,
This is the show.
we
That's
want
not
this
gonna
to be
change.
the show, and that can't change. And just, I'm not picking on Discovery Channel. I'm just randomly using Discovery Channel. Like Discovery Channel, if you want to buy it and then put Walmart commercials on our time slot, like that's not keeping with the integrity of our show. Like we want to find sponsors and partners that are like-minded. It's going to be more challenging because there's always somebody that'll sponsor you or say like, yeah, slap our brand on it. We'll be thrilled for it. But we want to find companies that are actually trying to do conservation and sustainability, and not the ones that are just greenwashing and going like, hey, we'll have this as a show we sponsor, and that means we're doing good ecologically, right?
Hey, well, the Koch brothers, they
sure.
sponsor the arts in a hospital in New York, so all the other stuff they do is fine, right?
Right, that just totally,
Yep, balances it out.
balances it out.
Well, you can probably look to use a model that a lot of bands and musicians are using today. We create the content ourselves, and then we will license it. So you may show it on Discovery, Nat Geo, but you don't own us. You don't own at any point we want to pull because of these triggers. Like, sorry, you put on a Walmart ad in the middle, and that's not part of what we signed up for.
Yeah.
So show's gone.
Well,
Bye.
So it'll be independent until we have.
I think audience is. I guess actually, then if the medium goal is just get people to watch it. Actually,
Yeah. Well, I mean, my whole thing is I want people
because that
I
means
want people to
clout with sponsors,
learn
clout with
what I'm learning as
Well,
well.
eyeballs.
everybody.
I mean, eyeballs. That's
just-
that's what it is.
we've
It's
been
ears.
so-
It's ears for us. It's eyes
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
all it is.
That's something
Absolutely.
we're not that good at because we've just been so busy making it for the last year that it's like
Well, and this isn't something that, and this isn't disparaging anybody that wants to do that, but I'm not trying to do a series so that we can make money and be famous. Why would I choose conservation if that's what I was doing? That's the best idea.
Green millionaire.
it'd be nice to be able to eat from it.
But it would be nice to make any money and not be pouring money out.
Watch this llama drive NASCAR on
Right.
Kickass Animal Encounters.
Yeah, which could be what the title sounds like, so I get that. But yeah, we could probably make some money with that idea. So if somebody wants to steal that, go ahead, because I'm not going to do that.
Well, one of the things I enjoy about the pieces that you do is that there's a little. It's lighthearted. It's not you are killing the environment and go fuck yourself and you better do this or. It's more like, hey, why not do this because of this, and this is here. Come on and.
Well, our audience is not people who need to be told that we should be better to the environment. Our audience is people who know that we need to take care of our planet, and people who love animals and who want to care for them, but may not know that when they go to Bob's Safari Park, where you can get your picture taken with a lion cub, that they may not know that's a bad idea. They may not realize that there are places that do good ecotourism and places that just use the word ecotourism because they think that'll sell more tickets. So our audience, we don't have to tell you the gloom and doom. Like, our audience knows the gloom and doom.
And the best way to alienate an audience is to talk at them and tell them what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And you don't do that at all.
Well, and my biggest thing is, like, when we talk about stuff to do around the house, it's like, hey guys, I don't do all this stuff. I'm trying. I'm trying to do more of this stuff. I don't use the washable, reusable toilet paper. I'm sorry. I could never bring myself to do that. I can't.
Whoa!
No,
whoa,
it's
whoa.
a thing.
Well,
It's a thing.
That is.
Family cloth.
The family cloth, it's called.
No, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
There's a reason some things are disposable.
I would
But we should
get a
have
butt
less
washing
disposable.
robot.
A butt washing
Yeah,
robot?
that'd
Okay.
be cool.
So
Okay.
maybe the next time we look for funds, it'll be for a butt washing robot.
Well, no, I mean it'll be
Or
like,
like a sentient bidet that just kind of walks up and goes, "Hey, sailor, why don't you?"
yeah,
You
like I
could
don't
use a little cleaning.
exactly.
That's how you make your money. You invent the butt
freshen up.
cleaning robot.
There you go.
You patent that.
And
then
then
that's how
that
you...
funds as much kick-assery
All right,
as
so
you
we're
want.
looking for an engineer.
I think between Mr. Brown and Brohammer, they could probably.
Oh, yeah.
They could cobble something together that'll just.
It'd be a terrifying
would be
washing
horrifying.
robot.
I don't want a cobbled together butt washing robot.
Yeah, I'll wait till generation 4.
I want to make
Exactly.
sure that
Exactly.
all the bugs are out.
You don't early adopt.
You're not going to be an
on-
early adopter at all.
on the
Butt
butt
washing
robot.
robot. No, I'm talking 10 years when this thing's perfected.
It's like,
And they're like $30.
and the death rate has gone considerably down.
1 in 1,000 I can accept.
It's like save the planet,
I
keep
will
it clean.
take those odds for a freshly clean butthole.
That's going to go on your tombstone.
He took
di-
the odds.
He died with.
And the odds took him. That's what it'll say.
So, you've got a number of shorts and one episode. What is the one episode? Was this from the Hawaii trip?
No, this was actually Turpentine Creek.
Turpentine Creek.
The cat rescue, the big cat rescue. They also
Okay.
have bears a coyote was there when we were there.
bunch of stuff.
Kodamundi.
Now, are you
bunch of
defining
animals.
an episode by 30 minutes or long? I can't remember what your...
Our episode, the first one was
12-ish.
it 12? I thought it was 17.
No, it was
I would love to have 30-minute episodes.
No,
That was the
22.
original.
I know,
So you could
yes,
sell those
yes.
8 minutes of commercials when
But
it
we
goes
don't
on
want
Nat Geo.
commercials.
Well, the original concept was going to have, like, each episode has a theme, and there will be 3 basic encounters that happen. There's, like, something you can do around that doesn't require a lot of planning or time. There's something that requires a little more planning, like, the beluga encounter at the Georgia Aquarium, and then, like, a third level that would be
like a photo safari.
yeah,
in
photo
Africa,
safari, like the
maybe
once in a lifetime trip, and that's still ultimately that would be great, but that requires
you can't
a lot more
do
money
that
for
with
that kind of show.
low budget.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But
So we're just
but the next one's coming up.
each one has a theme. Yeah, the first one was just all big cats. It was all about the problems with having big cats in captivity, and then the next one is going to be about ecotourism.
Well, they're all kind of
Yeah,
about
but
ecotourism.
it's, like,
mar-
specifically
marine ecotourism
yeah.
specifically. This will. We're gonna focus on the next episode is the manatees that we filmed in Florida with the manatee encounters.
Like the park where you can just go into the pool and they're just all hanging out. Or so.
Yeah, those would be. Well, it depends which park.
You go to the springs
But
and look at them from the boardwalk
Manatee,
while they're resting.
that's to me that's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do a 3-hour documentary on the manatee.
I'm a sea cow. Get a job, sea cow. I have a layer of blubber to keep me warm on the water.
That's not actually what their blubber is.
No?
They
Jim
luckily
Gaffigan, you lied to
don't
me.
have a lot of blubber.
Jim
actually.
Gaffigan lied a little.
Just a little?
It was mostly.
But he is correct that most manatees do not have a job.
That's true.
That's
Well, they
true.
do have a job. Depending on who you ask, it's either to
Don't they eat the seagrass,
Mother-
right?
eat the
Mothering
seagrass
is a
and
job.
raise their children, their offspring, or if you ask a lot of the tour people in Florida, their job is to take selfies with tourists.
Wouldn't that freak? Are they people
Yeah, that's-
friendly?
Yes
or people
and
tolerant?
no. They are people tolerant, which is their downfall.
And that's one of the main things about the manatees is like for years and years everybody gets in the water with them and like it's just there's too much going on in their area. They really need to. But the reason they go to those springs is to basically survive the winter
Oh,
because they'll die.
And then when
if
you get
they're
to
in
the
the cold
springs to survive, and they don't hibernate, but they're basically in like a low activity
low energy
state
state.
because there's so many of them in these warm areas that there's not a lot of food. So if they show up and there's 10, and this is on a slow day, there's 10 boats with 20 snorkelers each, all trying to get next to a manatee, surrounding manatees, separating mothers and calves, touching the manatees, which is about to become illegal, but isn't illegal, which I still don't understand that because
their
the whole
marine
marine
mammal,
mammal law is still there. Like the rest of the country, you have to stay 50 yards away from a
Any
marine
marine
mammal, but not in Florida.
well, it's
think
It's
Florida.
Florida.
It's
Good
kind of more
Lord.
enforcement though.
Yeah, I think it's more of an
understand. It's more
enforcement
like-
thing,
They're
but they're trying to get it so like tour operators will be like, yeah, you can touch a manatee just gently with one. Yeah, you tell 300 people
Right.
to touch gently with an open palm,
and only if it comes to you.
and only if it
People are
comes
gonna
to
go.
you. But
People are
no,
gonna swim
people
at
are
the manatee.
they're not going to listen to that. But the people
So,
that
yeah.
we filmed with, they do great jobs. They do great tours.
They're the people who
So
everybody cleans up their act when they show up.
Yeah,
So is it true that the rarest manatee of all is the unicorn manatee that we call the narwhal? Is that real?
unicorns of the sea. Ooh, my teeth just vibrated. I mean, I don't know that
I'm
much
no
about
expert,
the narwhal.
but a narwhal is not a manatee.
What?
What?
I don't think so, right?
No.
Or a
not.
unicorn.
Okay.
Or a unicorn?
Or a unicorn, for that matter. Yeah.
I believe it's a porpoise
It's a porpoise. Porpoise
with a long tooth.
Porpoisicular.
Long tooth that goes through its
Oh, that's right. It's
upper
a
lip
tooth. It's not even
or lower
like
lip.
a-
Sorry.
I'm talking about teething. Yeah, because it
Yeah.
pierces. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't like grow out of its forehead. That's. Talk about what buck tooth or
More
just-
proof that nature is just a big weird accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tooth that goes way up.
Just like, why? That's just weird.
Get to the pearly gates. You have a question? Yeah. What the hell is up with the narwhal, man? What were
and
you?
the platypus.
Yeah,
I mean,
they-
come on. Come on. Venomous spines on its back legs? What the... Who's the... I don't know.
I did not know that about the platypus.
Venomous beaver ducks is what they are.
Venomous beaver duck.
Yeah.
I'm very uncomfortable.
I mean, wait. They're Australia, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, everything in Australia is venomous, right?
Yes,
Like,
Australia
any-
was-
everything can kill
Everything
you.
will
there.
kill you in Australia, and that actually, I think there's maybe 7% of the animals there that are benign. The rest will kill you immediately.
Well, it's like the top 9 of 10 deadliest snakes
Anything.
and spiders and anything else. People, I don't know. No, the people
to
will
go to
die.
Australia.
See, that was the danger with Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. They were going through the outback. They were in constant danger all the time. Falling asleep outside with a cake, and they could have woke up dead.
Those long streaming cloths really attract venomous animals.
Here they come.
Somehow we got to that from the first episode, the next episode is going to be
Ecotourism. Yeah.
manatees and whale watching and scuba diving and snorkeling.
Yeah.
And that'll incorporate footage from the Hawaii trip.
Yes.
That will have some
so
Hawaii stuff.
Florida and Hawaii.
Florida and Hawaii.
That will be in the
So what's the next excursion planned?
Nothing
Or-
right now.
Not planned. We have lots of options.
Places we wanna go, yeah.
We've basically the idea was to shoot and finish 3 episodes and then put those in front of potential partners and sponsors. We ended up with footage basically for 4 episodes. So oh no. So we'll do that with 4 this time.
We're actually going to Florida next week to help someone else shoot some stuff.
Yeah.
Linda Burns, producer friend of ours, is shooting. I don't even actually know all of it. It's documentary stuff.
She's got like a cooking show as well as a
Yeah.
Forgotten Coast show.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's about
I like to think that we inspired her.
She goes. She's a producer around town. Her longtime fiance JD is a director / AD for Teen Wolf, and so like during the summer, during the
What,
breaks,
MTV's Teen Wolf?
yeah, he's directed a couple episodes, and he's mostly an assistant, first AD. Yeah, I know, but still, that pays a
MTV.
lot of that.
They
is rebuilt.
They get to go
refurnish their
deep
house.
sea fishing. Like,
So they basically
all the
spend
time.
all summer.
You know
just-
what? I will work on 1,000
Yeah.
Teen Wolf episodes to get to do that.
They spend all summer in Alligator Point, Florida, just fishing and hanging out. And then we're going down. She's invited up anybody down there. Well, not anybody, but people with production skills to come
And
down
me.
and help her. And Claire, who can cook and just do
clean.
whatever. And she can do whatever
And
she
hold a
wants
boom
to.
if I have to.
Yeah, she can do stuff. She can do all sorts of stuff. But so we're gonna go down and help her shoot documentary stuff. I don't even know what it is. There'll be some
Excellent.
interviews. We'll be out on boats. We'll be getting dirty with fish. So
Linda's also been a long time like food blogger, so she's
Yeah.
trying to combine all that together. And feed
Here's
us
the
and
wonders of these animals.
we're
Now, let's learn how to prepare them so they're tasty.
as long as it's
Yeah.
sustainable, absolutely.
yeah, we're gonna eat a lot of
I
fish.
am not a vegetariarian.
No.
People, I know that we're gonna get to a point on the show where people are like, "Well, you care about animals, and why are you a vegetarian?" I'm like, it's
because they're delicious.
because they're delicious. I'm sorry.
But if you want to eat the last endangered,
Yeah.
no, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can eat something else.
Sustainably harvesting our planet's resources is fine.
Yep.
Sustainably.
What? You mean
That's why
take
sustainable is such a big word now, because it's not conservation. It's not putting it in a box. It's not, it's,
all right? It's like, look, we've got 2 in a zoo. Fine, that's we can kill all the rest. You're like, no. That's not. Now, do you guys have any interest in getting up north into Alaska? And
That was one of the things I was going to say when we were looking at, again, we don't have anything scheduled, but looking at future things, the Alaska Sea Life Center,
I have family up there too. So.
he's got family up there. I have some people that
Yeah,
used to work
family
at the
everywhere.
aquarium that
I have Hawaiian family in Alaska.
Polynesians are all over Hawaii and all
Is it?
over
Nice.
Yeah,
Alaska,
there's a big Polynesian
And Utah.
community there. So
Salt Lake City. But so Sea Life Center, I would love to get to Monterey Bay Aquarium. I would love to go
Yeah.
to San Diego. We have there's a bat sanctuary in Texas, not far from where my family lives. So that's a possibility. There's a chimpanzee rescues.
they're like
There's a wolf sanctuary in Virginia.
starting
that
a
I would like to go
chimpanzee
to.
rescue here.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, I showed you that NPR story a month or two ago.
now, if you could choose like the most outrageous place to go, money is no object at all, where would you go?
I would say like an Australia, New Zealand, Fiji trip. But I
Barrier Reef would be
do
great,
think
but-
Great Barrier, like
What's left of it.
scuba
Yeah,
diving. Well,
exactly.
scuba diving, the Great Barrier Reef, or the Solomon Islands, or Fiji. Like a lot of the
I mean,
Fiji
African-
Islands have
African
lots
safari,
of
too,
amazing stuff.
sure.
But African safari, I think, would be the best for the show.
Yeah.
Australia for me.
Yeah.
African safari for the show. I mean, not that I don't want to go on an African safari, but like if I only could pick one, I would go to Australia.
Okay. Well, you want to go to New Zealand and check out all the Lord of the Rings stuff, or
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure.
if for no other reason,
we'd
just to
see
make
it,
Grayson's head explode.
just to make all my friends jealous. I'm not real big on the whole like, oh, this is where the movie was filmed, but it's gorgeous.
yeah, but it's
there.
just it's also just gorgeous.
So I would love to
landscapes or
just
whatever.
see that area. Because
Yeah,
it's
my friend
amazing.
Mark, I was friends with him in high school, but he was born in New Zealand, but came over with his family to the United States before he was like a couple of years old. So he doesn't have the accent or anything, but around the time he was about 25, he went, I got dual citizenship. Bye. And he went back, and now he's the concert and theater lighting god of New Zealand. And so anytime, send pictures of him with Tom Jones when he tours New Zealand. And he says, like, yeah, it basically is just a big batch of gorgeousness down here.
Yeah.
Just getting mad at it after a while. It's like, oh, stupid, beautiful mountain.
Yeah. Well, my mom had my mom travels like crazy now, and which is great. Being a military wife, you would have thought she would have been done with that, but no, she's all about it. And one day she was like, called me up or emailed me. She's like, hey, we're gonna go to Australia and New Zealand if you would like to join us. And I was like, yeah, I want to join. She's like, it'll only be $2,500 for that. And I was like, oh, you mean you're not paying?
And that's the thing.
Then I couldn't possibly join you.
Yeah, flights to New Zealand are not cheap.
Yeah.
At all.
And not short either.
Well, and that's
No.
the other thing. You need to have like 2 to 3 weeks to go.
Yeah.
So that you aren't just jet lagged and heading back.
Yeah, you don't go there for the weekend.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not the good thing to do.
Yeah. So I would love to do that, but that's a few sponsors away.
Yeah.
So you were talking about a bat sanctuary. Mm-hmm. Where is this now?
It's near Dallas Fort Worth. Actually, it's a bat sanctuary. There's lots of bats in Texas.
I would think that there were a lot of I went to the Carlsbad Caverns when I was a kid and remember looking up and there's bats everywhere.
Bunch of bats.
And rumor has it that DC is going to film there because they want to.
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of time. I'll tell you about it next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the Offices of Howard & Fine. I pet a sea lion the other day, but I was invited and supervised by a licensed trainer. So there you go.
So you win.
I win. Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast was sponsored by Deep Shack Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Check us out on dadsgarageradio.net. Listen, watch on YouTube. Listen on SoundCloud. Stream us on Stitcher. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Jeremiah Kulani Prescott.
I'm Claire Christie.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ!
Audio Primate.